The shape. The face. The town. The night. 10 years later. He's back. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
Now playing. Check your local listings.
I can't believe that there are more Halloween films than Friday the 13th films now. But it's true. The Blumhouse trilogy took this series up to 13 entries. It's pretty crazy to think. I'll never forget significant Halloween moments in my life. Seeing Halloween H20 on the TV when I watched my mom audibly gasp seeing Michael Myers' head get cut off by Jamie Lee Curtis. When the Halloween Blu-ray box set came out from Scream Factory, that was pretty crazy. When the films dropped on 4K, seeing Halloween 2018 in the theater, not thinking I would ever see a Halloween film again. Watching Rob Zombie's Halloween with my friends in the theater, that was so fun, and that was before I realized that those films were going to be some of the most hated horror films of all time. Years have gone by, but my love for this series still reigns supreme. My opinion, just like everybody else probably, has changed on these films throughout the years. So what you're about to see is my Halloween ranking of all 13 films. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Old Halloween Resurrection, we meet again. You know, when you learn about this film, it's even crazier than you remember. It's pretty funny to think that Busta Rhymes got the job because they needed to have another guy like LL Cool J in this series since LL Cool J was so well received in H20. But when Busta Rhymes came on board, he decided he was just gonna say what he wanted in the film, to hell with the script, and it seemed like Rick Rosenthal had no power to stop him. It's pretty clear to see that Busta Rhymes is just doing and acting however the hell he wants in this movie. It is so bad it's good, but it's at the behest of making Michael Myers look like an absolute joke. As bad as this movie is, the ending is just that much worse. Michael Myers is karate kicked to his death by Busta Rhymes. I feel like even people that hate this series and everything it stands for couldn't make a more pathetic ending. What a way to kill off a franchise. And I usually don't like saying stuff like that, but in reality, Resurrection killed it off. There was nowhere to go after that. Whether you like Rob Zombie or not, a remake was the only logical place. Now that the Blumhouse trilogy has done, the smoke is cleared on how all these things went down. After the huge success of Halloween 2018, they wanted 2 more films. So essentially it seems like Halloween Kills was basically a non-film that wasn't going to affect what they supposedly had planned after this, Halloween Ends, if you can believe that. Halloween Kills is certainly a film that me and you can sit down together and watch and have a good time with. But the reality is I would be embarrassed to watch this film in front of normal people. It's such a silly movie with the Evil Dies Tonight chants that are so ridiculous. I even feel bad seeing Charles Cyphers in this film. Rest in peace, we just lost him not long ago. But even seeing him chant this just makes my heart hurt. His character was so much more than that. There's something that makes me laugh even harder about watching this film, if you can believe it. This film is essentially not a Laurie Strode film, but whenever you see Laurie in this film, I get the sense that Jamie Lee Curtis was acting like this movie was still all about her. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but I feel it when I watch it. And it just makes me chuckle. It's pretty hysterical thinking that this town is so irate over a killing that happened in 1978, yet they don't know what this guy looks like, causing this poor mental patient to jump to his death. When I look back on this film, this is either the biggest inside joke on making a bad film by Danny McBride, or it's just an extremely poorly made horror film that is essentially a so bad it's good horror movie. I can't take this film seriously even if I tried. I can have a great time with it, but the reality is, Halloween Kills is just a bad good horror film. I'll never forget seeing Halloween 2018 in the theater. It was quite the experience, I can't deny that. It was palpable, and I loved it as soon as I got done with it. But getting out of the theater and watching this film on 4K and Blu-ray and revisiting it a number of times, I just feel like the cracks started showing more and more. There's something that just seemed so off about the way Laurie Strode was blockading herself in. She lost her family over this. Hell, even in H20, which included part 2, not just part 1, which means she went through more hell, but at least there she still held a job and raised kids somewhat normally, at least living with them. In this one, she's like Tomb Raider. Everything's blocked off. She's blasting mannequins in the backyard. What the hell? It's not like the guy's missing. He's locked up, for God's sakes. You can move on a little bit. People have gone through much worse things, Laurie Strode. The Dr. Sartain character just rubs me the wrong way, the way he decides to kill an innocent cop because he wants to see Michael perform. None of that makes any sense to me. At the time in the theater, I accepted it, but as time went on, I just thought, none of this is working. Visually and sound-wise, Halloween 2018 is absolutely great though. And also, James Jude Courtney is phenomenal. Thank God he did the job of Michael Myers in these movies. Rob Zombie's Halloween is a film that I certainly enjoy, but there's no denying a lot of the criticisms that people have. If you're a Rob Zombie fan, you know that he grew up around circuses his whole life, so that vulgarity and bad language is something that he knows. Now, while vulgarity in his movies don't bother me, I have to actually side with the haters of Rob Zombie in a certain aspect here. It's one thing for there to be bad language and vulgarity in a dialogue scene between characters, but it's pretty funny how the Myers family has worse dialogue than the Devil's Rejects Firefly family. You could essentially replace this group in each film and the dialogue between them would remain the same. It makes total sense for the Devil's Rejects, but we certainly could have dialed it back in Rob Zombie's Halloween. I'm okay with seeing young Michael and his journey. That's not really my problem. I do like the second half of this film quite a bit. Seeing Danielle Harris come back playing a different character is also a really cool wink and nod to the audience. I think she's great in these films. I like her more in the original timeline as young Jamie Lloyd, but she's still great nonetheless. Scout Taylor Compton plays a great Laurie Strode. I really like her. She plays a very realistic in the 2000 sense character that, of course, she's a good girl, but she's still gonna joke around and have fun. I always thought that was a good balance by Rob. You can't make her too much of a goody two-shoes. All in all, I do like Rob Zombie's Halloween quite a lot, but there are certainly gripes that are warranted. Ah yes, Halloween 5, certainly one of the most zaniest of the Halloween entries. I'm not going to excuse things I'm going to talk about, but I'm just going to say this. Once you start watching foreign films, Halloween 5 starts to make a little bit more sense to you. The quirky sensibilities. Donald Pleasance's Dr. Loomis performance in this seems like he's just completely drunk and whacked out of his brain. He yells at kids, he gets angry out of nowhere, he's forceful, he's pretty hysterical. It takes him a few tries to flip on a light switch when he visits the Myers house. I think he got completely wasted in 5 because he got hooked on booze after seeing The Preacher in 4. At least that's the mythology I'm giving it. It's pretty funny that the director didn't think we could figure out that these are supposed to be comedic, quirky cops with their dialogue, so he had to add in zingers and bullhorns to make sure the audience know that these are comedic characters. I used to get angry at it, but now it's so ridiculous I can't help but love it. I don't think I'd want Halloween 5 any other way. All while the Myers house looks absolutely different in 5, somehow the house just completely changed its architecture, at least it looks really cool. Can't say that I dislike the look of the Myers house in 5. Yeah, it's not exactly screen accurate from before, but what the hell. Out of the 3 Blumhouse films, Halloween Ends is the one that I just somehow enjoy the most. And I know that can seem as somewhat of a surprise. You got a movie where Michael Myers is barely in it, and mostly revolves around Corey Cunningham, becoming the evil that would be Michael Myers in a sense. I think the style and look of this film is what draws me to it the most. When you see those sewer cave scenes where Michael's in there, visually it looks absolutely great on a big screen TV. I really love it. Seeing Michael slide into the walls of this cave, choking out Corey at first when he sees him, is just a great visual scene. Sure, there are things about Halloween Ends that make no sense to me, like the fact that Laurie Strode is unlocking the doors and living a normal life when Michael goes missing, as opposed to being locked up. It's absolute nonsense. But, for some reason, I can't help it. I enjoy watching Halloween Ends. When it comes to the Blumhouse trilogy, this is my favorite. Halloween H20 is a film that is so entrenched in its time. Jamie Lee Curtis wanted to come back to Halloween, and you can't say that she wanted to get back on the gravy train either. This film was destined for straight-to-video land after The Curse of Michael Myers. There's something about H20 that just works so well, and I think it has to be the character of Laurie Strode in this film. Jamie Lee Curtis essentially plays herself in this film if she was having post-traumatic stress from a situation that happened years ago. It seems so realistic and well done. Laurie Strode is now an alcoholic, but she still has a great job at a school, she's raising her son, and has to get through daily life. It's even relatable to a certain extent. She can't stop. She has to fight. She tries to avoid it for as long as she can, pretending it never happened. But things come to a head 20 years later when Michael comes back. When it comes to the Halloween entries, I think the best ending has to be H20. Seeing Jamie Lee Curtis cut that bastard's head off is about the coolest thing. The way she breathes heavy after doing it, looking down at it. And then the original John Carpenter theme plays. It's chef's kiss. H20 is the best legacy sequel in this franchise. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is a film that I like, but not as much as the last time I ranked this a number of years ago. It's certainly an entry that takes huge risks. This is the most PTSD Halloween film of all of them. Characters from the previous Rob Zombie film are completely broken. Laurie Strode can barely keep it together. Dr. Loomis is completely gone mad, revealing all the secrets in his new book. It's somewhat realistic though, if you ask my opinion. I do love Dr. Loomis in this film. He's a madman. Malcolm McDowell is hysterical, and watching him go mad on his secretary throughout this film is something to see. There's also incredibly dark scenes, like when one of the parents shows up to the book signing of Dr. Loomis and almost kills him. There's something about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 that is so enjoyable to watch during this time. It feels so inherently fall and dark. I love the twisted elements of the white horse stuff too. I get it, it's kind of a joke and people don't understand it. But to Rob's credit, he did define it in the beginning of the film, just the way Phantasm did. Of all the Halloween films, the opening of Halloween 4 has to be the most enjoyable fall atmosphere of all of them. I love the intro to Halloween 4. It sets up the mood better than anything in the series. It's also just a great horror film. Dr. Loomis is back. It's been 10 years since Michael caused hell in 1978. The build-up to this film is great. Michael breaks out of the ambulance in extreme fashion, shoving his thumb in the forehead of one of the paramedics. Dr. Loomis is at his best here too. There's some action sequences with Dr. Loomis. The diner sequence at the gas station is one of my favorites. He pleads with Michael before poetically looking at him almost as dead-eyed as Michael himself and says, "God damn you." What a scene. The Halloween theme plays, and the film is off and running from there. One of the coolest scenes has to be the drugstore scene. It's so atmospheric and vintage looking. You see all the cool Halloween masks on the shelf. This is the scene where Michael gets his mask back, and it's so fun revisiting this film when you get to that part. There's nothing more vintage and 80s than that Vincent drugstore. I love this film so much. Bo-star Sheriff Meeker is such a grounded character that is necessary to make a film like this work. I always felt like it's great that he believed Dr. Loomis in this film. Had he not, I feel like more people would have died this night. For what it's worth, I think Sheriff Meeker saved lives that night. This is a great Halloween sequel.
I thought about separating the producer's and theatrical cut of Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, but when I was making my list, I found that they sat right next to each other in the ranking. I think the key elements of what I love about this film are in both cuts of the movie, so that's why they're right next to each other. Halloween 6 has the most autumn feel out of any of the movies to me. I could put this movie on in March and it feels like Halloween outside to me. This film was always like the Freddy's Revenge of the series to me. It was always the darkest chapter in this entire franchise, and I love it because of that. The cult aspect is something I was always fascinated about. I might be in the minority on this, but if you are going to explain why Michael Myers is this killing machine, telling me he's under the spell of a cult is probably the scariest thing I could conjure up in my mind. Not only do you have to worry about Michael Myers now, but this mysterious cult that's controlling him. It also should be noted that I think George P. Wilbur is among the best of the Michael Myers. This man is a tour de force, and I love him portraying the character. Dr. Loomis in this movie is also something I find myself really loving. He's an older man in this film, and I think this was Donald's last movie. But the cadence of Dr. Loomis is a little bit slower. You gotta really focus when he's talking. But he's got so much knowledge in this film about Michael Myers. Halloween 6 is not a perfect film by any stretch. But when I watch this film, it feels more like Halloween than anything else to me. And that goes a long way for me. I love this movie.
Taking moments momentarily after the first film, Halloween 2 is about as great as a slasher sequel as you can get. Dick Warlock steps into the role of the Shape, giving this character more of a menacing feel. The more robotic steps, the heavy breathing under the mask. It's almost like the devil's under there, or like some sort of robot. which poetically he would play in Halloween 3. Halloween 2 is such a great atmospheric film. When it comes to those kind of quirky characters you put in slasher films, I always feel like part 2 had the best. Leo Rossi's character in this film is the best character in this movie, hands down. He's so funny. He comes across as a guy that's quiet, quit his job a long time ago like most of us, shows up and just tries to have a good time any way he can. Hospital horror films can get redundant, but Halloween 2 is a trailblazer for me. I love the atmosphere of this film. I love the look of this film. I love how quiet Halloween 2 feels as well. It's certainly a film you gotta watch with the lights out in a dark room. The ambiance of the hospital really envelops if you can watch it in the proper setting. The score by Alan Howarth adding that gothic layer over the original soundtrack works just as well too, and it's perfect for this film. Some people complain that Laurie Strode doesn't have enough to do. I think it's an opportunity for others to spotlight themselves, and I think it works quite well. Halloween 2 is a great, if not a perfect, slasher sequel. The original Halloween is a film that needs no introduction, from the great classic opening with that pumpkin shining through a black screen with the title credits going, seeing Michael kill his sister as he goes upstairs, with one of the most timeless horror films ever made. The original Halloween is a masterpiece. If you ask me what makes it so great, I always have to go to the soundtrack. John Carpenter famously told a story of showing this to an executive before they had a score added to it, and the executive said, "This movie doesn't work whatsoever." I believe she even admitted after the score was added to the film that now it works perfectly. Music is one of the most, if not the most important element to horror films. Soundtracks are everything. Everything in this film was done by happenstance, love, and just by a group of people that just wanted to make a great movie. The fact that they didn't have a mask commission, but they bought a mask at a costume shop, ripped the hair off, and spray painted it white, they created the most iconic character of all time by the means of average, everyday people. Halloween is a horror movie made by fans, for fans. I also think that Tommy Lee Wallace is one of the most unsung heroes of this film. There's no doubt that my favorite Halloween film being Halloween 3 is going to shock people, but the reality is I cannot lie. This movie, in my opinion, is one of the most original horror films ever made. The film being led by a late 40s Tom Atkins at this point is just so unique in and of itself. There's not many horror films that are quite like this. A drunk doctor who abandons his ex-wife and kids to go run off with this young broad to go try to find what happened to her dad. Sure, he has good intentions, but that's secondary to Atkins wanting to get a little bit of a piece, if you know what I mean. It's not like we don't have love scenes between him and Ellie in the hotel room. There's such this weird, quirky feeling to Halloween 3 that I can't shake. They filmed this movie in a town that is also pretty small and desolate, and you really feel that while watching it. The soundtrack by John and Alan Howarth is so good. It may be my favorite John Carpenter score. Songs like The Chariots of Pumpkins, with this pumping synth that plays in the beginning, Ellie's dad running toward the screen, is so cool. The Halloween masks that were from Don Post Studios. Everything about this film feels so incredibly nostalgic and vintage. You've got this crazy Irish mask maker who wants to kill every child on Halloween night. You can't get more sinister than that. Michael can only take out one person at a time. Conwell Cochran wants to take out the entire world. I don't think anybody's more evil than this guy. Now, there are things about Halloween 3 that you have to really question, but the difference between this and questioning some of the decisions made in the Blumhouse films is I have pretty easy solutions for the Blumhouse films, but I have to admit, even I have no freaking idea how they got Stonehenge inside of that factory. So maybe somebody watching this can have an answer for me. And if I can't have a solution myself, I can't knock it. Halloween 3 is one of my favorite horror films of all time. I absolutely love it. So guys, that was my Halloween ranking. I'm sure that there are some people watching this that threw stuff at their TV, and there may be a few of you who agreed with some of my more controversial takes. I'd love to know what you guys think down below. Happy Halloween, and I'll talk to y'all soon.